Hello again and welcome to Spotlight, the interview show on RT. I'm Al Grinov, and today the guest on the show is Jim Rogers. The latest G8 meeting in Camp David was focused on saving Europe from its economic nightmares. In particular, the Big Eight discussed Greece and its severe debt crisis, trying to figure out how to save the Eurozone. The recession struck nearly 4 years ago, but the aftershock is still there. And it's unclear where the new economic capital will emerge when the economy finally starts to recover. So, are there any signs of light at the end of the tunnel? We'll discuss it with one of the insiders of the world financial elite, co-founder of the Quantum Fund, Jim Rogers.
Despite most countries are claiming to have recovered from the 2008 crisis, the world economy is unstable. In America, overspending and enormous public debt threaten a new recession. Europe struggles with the long-lasting Eurozone crisis that devours bailout money and sparks unrest. While the West is struggling, the focus of the world economy seems to be moving to the East. More and more economists agree that countries like China, India and Russia will soon become the trendsetters. And Mr. Jim Rogers is also one of those with a stake in Asia.
Hello, Mr. Rogers. Welcome to the show.
I am delighted to be here, Al.
Thank you very much. It's my pleasure. Well, first of all, your book, Gift to My Children, it's subtitled like how to live and how to invest. So, how should we live? In what should we invest in the Eurozone? What would you suggest your children to do?
I am not investing in the Eurozone.
You're not investing.
No. I'm afraid that it's come to the stage where sometime in the next year or two, the politicians will think that the easy way is to leave the euro. It's not good for Greece, it's not good for anybody, but politicians always look for the easy way out. And in the end, they will leave, and then others will leave, and it's going to cause more turmoil. Be very careful about 2013 and 2014.
Do you think it's something similar to what happened to the ruble zone, to what happened to the post-Soviet states? They all thought, as soon as the politicians, as soon as they became independent, they thought that the easy way is to build a country on their own. And now they're trying to integrate, but it's very hard.
Right, they found out they were wrong.
Yeah.
Well, the same thing is going to happen if Greece leaves. Greece is going to have worthless currency again. The old drachmas are going to be printed, and it's going to be debt and recession, and no, it's not going to work at all. But politicians only worry about the next election. Right. They don't worry about 3 elections later. They worry about now.
Well, in this sense, the politicians that are in their second terms are better. They think about the future of humanity.
Yes. If they can only run one more time, or no more times, then yeah, of course, then they look ahead. But unfortunately, right now, what's happening in Greece is there is nobody in that state. The new guys are coming along and saying, we will save you, we will get out of the euro. And then somebody in Portugal is going to say it, and then somebody in another country is going to say it. So the euro is going to have a few shocks. The world's going to have a few shocks in the next 2 or 3 years.
Because Europe is important. Well, let's take a closer look at the situation in Greece with this report from Spotlight's Yelena Demidova.
Just 2 months ago, it seemed Greece was finally saved from financial disaster. The international community agreed a rescue package exceeding 130 billion euro, and the Fitch ratings agency upgraded Greece's credit rating to a B-, assigning it a stable outlook. But then politics stepped in. Greece's inability to form a government brought it to the verge of probably the biggest crisis it's faced so far. It made Greece the major topic of the G8 summit in Camp David.
Greece should remain in the Eurozone. At least that's what the G8 countries would like to happen. But it's not enough that these countries want it. The Greek people, the citizens, must want it as well.
And the Greek people seem to want to stick to the euro, at least judging by their reaction to an alleged Angela Merkel's suggestion that the country should hold a referendum on the euro.
We have to remain within the euro, because if we return to our old currency, we have no idea what will happen. We have no idea. It could be even worse. This is the thing.
While G8 leaders, together with the Greek people, might want to keep the euro, their will might not be enough. The majority of financial analysts are quite pessimistic these days, thinking that Greece will leave the eurozone.
It seems to me that the European Union right now is much better prepared for a possible Greek exit from the Eurozone. First of all, there is a psychological effect that the weakest link of the Eurozone will be out.
Experts in different countries are now evaluating the possible outcome of the worst-case scenario if Greece actually leaves the Eurozone.
Jim Rogers here with his comments. Well, Mr. Rogers, do you think that Russia should really care what happens with Greece?
Well, we all have to care, because what happens with Greece will have a snowball effect, and it will cause more turmoil in currency markets and financial markets and bond markets, and then we're all going to be affected. It doesn't matter that Greece is a small country with 10 million people. It's going to have many effects in the rest of the world, whether we like it or not. I don't particularly like it, but it's a fact.
Yeah, you also mentioned Portugal. You know, I've been to Portugal last summer, and I've realized that the prices went up. The country's in a crisis. The country needs money badly, but the prices for tourism go up. The hotels, the food, everything. And when I asked them why, they said, now listen, the fuel goes up, gasoline goes up, so the fishermen charge more, and so all the prices go up. Well, this is absurd. They instead of attracting tourists, who feed them, they like chase them away.
And the Greeks are doing the same thing. It's happening everywhere. No, that's, you and I understand basic economics. I hope we do. Some of these people don't.
Well, I'm sorry, but I think that fisherman we saw, he understands basic economics more than me and you. At least more than you, better than me.
He made a very good point. That, as I said before, if the drachma comes back, it's going to be a nightmare for the Greeks. The Greeks, for the past 200 years, have had basically nothing but debased currencies, inflation, recessions. It's been a terrible place for as an economy. And he knows what he's talking about. I wish the politicians did.
Okay, well, the debates are going on. Well, we get it all over Russian press, at least. What to do with the lying European economies. Germany is defending austerity measures, while the indebted economies on the continent, well, especially those on the south, they would like to ease budget discipline. Well, what is the better strategy? The German?
Al, eventually you run out of money. Eventually you run out of other people's money. The Greeks are out of other people's money now. Everybody who says, I want a free lunch. Listen, I want a free lunch too, Al, but somebody has to pay for it. And the world has decided we're not going to give them any more money. Maybe a few more days, a few more months or something. But the only solution is to start paying off the debt. So far, Al, if you look at every one of the countries with an austerity plan, the debt is going higher in every country despite austerity. That is going to lead to a collapse someday. We have to realize what's happened. We have to face reality, and we have to start cutting back. I don't particularly like it, but facts are facts. Otherwise we're going to have debt going higher and higher. There's going to be an eventual collapse, and then it's going to be a disaster for the whole world.
You should know the situation in the States, and you know better than me, better than most of the people. But when I look at what's going on in the States, I get a feeling that around a quarter of the American population gets their free lunch every day for their entire life. And when people look at that, first of all, they want their free lunch too.
Right.
And secondly, people say, where's the collapse you're talking about?
Well, it's going to come out. In America, only 50% of the people pay tax. That means 50% of people do not pay any taxes at all.
This is your free lunch.
Yeah, I would like to be one of those who doesn't pay any taxes. I would certainly like that too. But that can't. America's now the largest debtor nation in the history of the world, Al. In the history of the world. This is going to have a bad ending down the road.
The new French president, he has won the election with the promise to put the economic growth over the budget discipline. What resources does he have to fulfill his promise? Does he have enough spare money to do that?
No, that's my point. Eventually you run out of other people's money. I'm delighted that he says he's going to ignore the budget constraints. Where is he going to get the money? I'm not going to give him the money. Are you going to give him the money? I don't think Russia's going to give him the money. I don't think America's going to give him the money. No, he is not facing reality yet, and reality is going to slap him in the face sometime in the next couple of years.
What's wrong about other people's money? This other people's money is what business is all about. Because if you're playing with your money, it's a hobby. It's not business.
Other people's money is great as long as you can get other people's money. My point is, eventually, the other people run out of money. You're going to run out of other people's money, and then what are you going to do? Unless you have some money hidden away in your pocket somewhere, you're going to have a real problem.
Well, this is the whole point about the drachma. They think that if they return to drachma, this is going to be their money. They're going to print it.
Right, they'll print them, but that's what the Greeks have done for 200 years. You know, the drachma comes and goes. It goes up, it goes down. It's been a nightmare living in. That's why the Greek economy hasn't done much for 200. They got independence in 1832. They have not had a good time since independence because they keep printing money.
Well, you mentioned Portugal. Well, some people also mentioned Spain. But may there really be this domino effect if Greece falls?
Yeah,
or not exactly? Because Eurozone is stronger than a pack of dominoes, is it? Well,
I would hope the euro survives. The world needs something to compete with the U.S. dollar. The dollar is a terribly flawed currency. The euro would be great. At least a sound euro would be great. So in theory, it would be good if the weak sisters left the euro and the ones that were left were very strong and sound, and then you would have a very good currency to compete with the U.S. dollar. Unfortunately, I don't know if the euro could survive if you have 3 or 4 people leaving. That's going to be quite a shock. Whether it's Portugal or not, I was just using that as an example. There are many countries that could leave. If the first one leaves, if Greece leaves, then some other politician is going to say, I can win an election by saying I'm going to leave the euro. I'll tell the people it's good.
And he's triggering the process.
Right, that's what happens. Now, but eventually, if the euro can survive, all the weak ones getting out, boy, the euro would be the greatest currency in the world. It would put the dollar out of business.
Says Jim Rogers, investor and Wall Street guru. Spotlight will be back shortly after a break, so stay with us. Don't go. Welcome back to Spotlight. I'm Al Grunov, and just a reminder that my guest on the show today is Jim Rogers, investor, Wall Street guru, and Indiana Jones of capitalism, as they nickname it. Well, Mr. Rogers wrote a book called A Gift to My Children, A Father's Lessons for Life and Investing. Well, just another lesson from you. What are you teaching your children? In which currency should they put their savings today? You said that there will be maybe big problems in the year 13 in Europe. You said the dollar. You're not very happy about the dollar. So what's it going to be? Yuan? China?
Well, actually, yes. The renminbi the Chinese currency is one of the better currencies in the world. But you can't just pick up the phone and buy a lot of renminbi because it's a blocked currency. But it is legal to buy it, and whenever I can, I buy more renminbi for myself and for my family. The other currencies right now, the Swiss franc, the Japanese yen. I actually own some dollars at the moment, not because it's a safe haven, but people think it is. And if there's more currency turmoil, people wrongly will flock to the dollar, but I have to anticipate what people do, even if they're right or wrong. I don't believe in the dollar, but I know people do. So I own some dollars at the moment.
So a financier is the person who knows economic, who watches the politics, but judges psychology.
Yeah, you have to do what the market's going to do. I can't stand there and say to the market, you're wrong. I'll go broke. No, I have to figure out the market if I'm going to survive.
Okay, what about you didn't mention sterling. Well, it is the sterling is okay, but what I wanted to ask you is that if Portugal, if Greece leaves, or if they go back to drachma, this may be a problem. But sterling, Britain, is not there yet. If Britain decides to enter the Eurozone, will this be a decision meaning that here we are, that Euro is there for ages?
Well, that would be a shock if Europe, I mean, if England, Great Britain decided to join the Eurozone, that would be a great boost for the Euro. I'm not sure that the UK can do it because they're broke themselves. You know, the UK has terrible, terrible financial problems themselves, big debts, and debts that are going higher and higher. I don't think that any UK politician could win an election saying, I'm going to join the euro.
So you're not crazy about the sterling too? I mean,
no, I know Europe. I mean, I love the UK. Some of my most wonderful experiences were in the UK. But they're in trouble too. I mean, look at their finances. They have running big deficits, huge debts. No, it's not the UK that it used to be.
Well, look, China, a country where millions, billions rather, live below the poverty level, is doing okay. And the countries where people live a comfortable life, I mean, the people, most of the people are in big trouble. Does that mean China is the model?
Well, if you ask me, yes. I have moved to Asia, and my children speak Chinese because in my view, China is going to be the most important country in the 21st century. I've got 2 little girls, they both speak Chinese. That's part of what that book's about. They're doing it. The largest creditor nations, Al, in the world now are China, Korea, Japan, Taiwan, Hong Kong, Singapore. The money's in Asia. The assets are in Asia. You know who the debtors are. You know where they are. The world is always changing. We're going through a major historic shift where the world is moving from the U.S. to Asia. In the 1920s and 1930s, the world moved from the U.K. to America, exacerbated by a financial crisis and mistakes made by politicians. The same thing is happening now. It always happens, Al. The thing that's the norm, that's normal in the world, is change. And we're having more change as we sit here.
But my point is that the better the Chinese economy will do, the more people there will live a better life. Doesn't mean when the majority of the Chinese people will be living decent lives, they will be having problems too.
Well,
and probably the center will move to Africa.
Eventually, 100 years from now, whatever. Yeah, the Chinese are going to be on top of the world, and then they'll get fat and lazy and sloppy, and they'll start declining too.
Is that the problem with Americans and the British, that they got fat and lazy? I wouldn't say so.
They got rich. They got very successful. Actually, most Americans are now obese. I mean, the statistics are pretty frightening about America. But whatever happens,
who gets fat and lazy? People like you, the fat cat, or the people? I mean the blue collars, or both of them.
Let me repeat: 50% of Americans do not pay taxes. So they're doing something so that they can support themselves by other people, other people's money. We're back to other people's money again. So America's not competitive anymore. I don't like saying this, Al. I'm an American citizen, an American taxpayer, worse, you know.
You're not supposed to criticize your country when being abroad.
Exactly. But America is not competitive. We have a constant balance of trade surplus. We cannot compete with most other countries anymore.
We've got an email from one of our listeners who knew you were coming, and here's what he writes. Do you prefer commodities, first of all, gold and silver for investment? Why, and for how long will their prices continue
I much prefer real assets, because if the world economy gets better, Al, the price of commodities is going to go higher because of shortages. If the world economy does not get better, then governments are going to print money. It's the wrong thing to do, but that's all they know to do. So they will print a lot of money, and throughout history, you own real goods when they print money, whether it's silver or rice, you own real stuff. So yes, I prefer real assets to stocks and bonds anywhere in the world right now.
What's going to happen to oil prices? Russia is very much dependent on oil. You know, the new government that we got, I heard a good comment yesterday. Somebody said, this is $100, this is a government that's worth $100. As to why? Said, because they are there until oil is higher than $100. When oil gets below the $100, they lose their job. So what's happening to oil? Why is it holding the price despite the stagnation of it?
Well, because the world is running out of known reserves of oil, Al. I mean, whether we like it or not, known reserves are in decline all over the world. There may be a glut of oil at the moment, a small glut, but every country in the world, except Brazil, has less oil this year than last year, and every year we're running out of oil. That's why the oil is going to go much higher, Al. Unless we discover a lot of oil very quickly in very accessible places, the surprise is going to be how high the price of oil stays and how high it goes. Now, if there's a shock, if Greece goes bankrupt or gets out of the euro or something, oil could go to 80. I mean, you pick the number. Everything will go down for a while. But if that happens there, you buy all you can, because whether it's gold or silver or rice or oil, buy all you can, because then governments are going to print more money.
You are quoted as saying that by the end of 2013 there may be a new crisis or a new set of problems for world economy. What do you think may be the trigger for this?
Well, every 4 to 6 years in America we've had a setback. We've had an economic recession or a slowdown.
Pure mathematics.
It's history. It's the way the world works. I would like to say, no, we're never going to have another recession in America as long as the world exists. That's not going to happen. We have an election in 2012. Obama's spending all the money he can, printing all the money he can to get reelected. So there's a lot of good news at the moment. But things are getting worse because the debt is going higher and higher and higher. You can add 4 to 6 is 2013. So we're going to have the problems in 13 and 14. The last recession started in 2007. 2013 is 6 years. Be very careful. The election will be over. The bad news will start coming out. They won't be able to cover it up anymore. And be worried. Be worried.
Who will suffer most? What kind of economies? The emerging economies, the developed economies, the
economies that
economies?
Don't have natural resources.
So Russia will be okay.
Russia will be in better position than the countries
Japan.
Which don't have. Than Japan. Belgium will suffer more than Australia. Canada will do better than the U.S. Canada has a lot of natural resources. The U.S. doesn't. If you find well-managed countries with natural resources, they will do a lot better than the ones that don't have natural resources. And especially you can find ones that don't have debt. If you find ones that have a lot of money saved up for a rainy day, when the rainy day comes, they'll start spending it.
What classes of people will suffer more? The poor, the rich, the middle class?
Well, when you have economic turmoil, usually the people who lose their jobs, I mean, the poor people or the middle class are the ones who lose their jobs most of all, and so they will suffer the most. In many countries, there are safety nets now to take care of people who are thrown out of work, but everybody will suffer. I mean, even if you're a rich guy, you're going to have, your business is going to be suffering because everybody else is suffering.
Yeah, and as we know, the rich people are different from the poor. They can afford more debt. And when it goes down, here you are, you're broke. Yeah. Okay. You are also quoted as saying once that, for example, Congo, though it's rich in commodities because the economy is poorly managed, you said that it may have problems. Russia is also rich in commodities, and we Russians, at least, like to say that we are poor managers of our own commodities. Does it mean, from your point of view, that Russia and Congo are similar?
Well, you said that Russia is badly managed. I didn't say that, but...
If you read Russian, you open any Russian paper, and you know Russians are very critical of their own government. Well, as you are also.
Well, that's good. I mean, people should be critical of a government which deserves criticism. I mean, absolutely. Thank goodness they can do that in Russia. I can remember when you could not criticize your government in this country. So, but the well-managed countries, and I don't consider the Congo well-managed, so I don't think I'm not putting money into the Congo. But if Russia's well-managed, you will certainly do, even if you're not well-managed, you're going to do better than others because you have resources. But if your newspapers are right and you're not well-managed, you're not going to do as well as maybe Canada.
Well, Mr. Rogers, you're one of the guys that you can talk to for hours, but we're running out of time, and thank you very much for coming. And just a reminder that my guest today was Jim Rogers, investor and insider and author of a book called A Gift to My Children, a book where he explains to his own children how to live and how to invest. Thank you for being with us. Spotlight will be back with more. Until then, stay on RT and take care.